Do you mind if I take us out on a story? I'll try to make it quick.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Bring us home.
While all of your wives and girlfriends are in the background telling you to get the fuck off the computers. I didn't mention this before, but I went to Atlantic City. It's now like 3 weeks ago or so. I can avoid the part about how Atlantic City's a cesshole, but when we were there, I decided I wanted to see a magic show because we got a free flight there and we had extra money for shows and stuff, and I don't gamble. So I went to go see a magic show, and this guy playing there is named Kozak the Magician. And it turns out that, actually, let me start this first. So we're trying to find where in the Tropicana the box office is to buy tickets for this thing. And it wasn't promising when, after, snaking our way through the casino, and they're always designed like IKEA, where it's like, if you want to get out of IKEA, it's like good fucking luck. You can't, the one thing you can't do there is get to the cash register. So, we're going through all the slot machine rows and stuff with just the fucking sad, depressed people rubbing machines and blowing on them and doing all their other, like, magic thinking. And we finally get to this line. I'm sitting there in this line thinking, I think this might be it. It looks like a box office line, but I don't see anything about a magic show. And I don't know, I'm always sensitive about sitting in lines from the point when I was, an undergrad at some point, I read about an experiment where they proved that just by getting a few people to form a line to anywhere, they would eventually attract, several other people who would stand in line despite not knowing what they were waiting for or like anything, And I later on tested that in a casino in San Diego with some friends who worked there, and we just basically stood to it. We formed a line of 3 to a staff only door. Soon enough, there were like 2 women standing behind us, and then we just kind of laughed and just scattered, leaving them there. And I mean, it seemed all funny to us, and I'm sure in their mind they just thought it was must be the change table or something, But ever since then, I've been sensitive about it. I was like, it's going to be my turn one of these days, and I'm going to be in the line that leads to the fucking staff door or like an experimental psychologist. So we finally get up there. It turns out the first thing I'm like, I'd like tickets for Kozak's magic show. And she's like, the what? And I was like, oh, fuck, you're right. And so she turns around and then she talks to another employee and she doesn't know either. And then they finally summon someone back there who was like, oh yeah, that's around the corner over here. So, so we go around the corner and sure enough, it's right there. And it's like a comedy club, magic show. So we get our tickets. Then we were 2 hours early and we come back and we go in there and we are 2 of a total of 7 people there to watch the show. The space is designed to hold about 300 people, I'm guessing. And we're all right up at the front. And it's that's already kind of awkward just because, I mean, for one, I hate to be the one that gets called on stage. And then now my odds for being the person to get called on stage were dramatically increased. And it's just all intimate. If anything was awkward or embarrassing, it's basically like a one-on-one counter now. I couldn't just be the dude in the back of the audience. So it turns out two of the people in the audience were these old women with New Jersey accents, and they were just shitty hecklers pretty much without even knowing why. They just thought anytime he'd do a trick, and he's doing some really good tricks. It would be, that's a trick phone book, or that's a trick card, or that's a trick ring, or whatever it was. It was they thought they were going to see Gandalf do some legitimate physics twisting maneuver or something, and they were just mad that it was an illusion, even though they had no idea how he was doing it. And so the whole time they heckled him, and that sucked. And then it gets really awkward because the other 3 people were these young guys, and they're sitting there, and at first Kozak the Magician sees the makeup of the audience and says, hey, sometimes this is a family-friendly show, but since it's all just, a few adults here tonight, you want the adult version. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'm having a drink, just trying to make it less awkward as it is. You do whatever you have to do. So he gets all excited, and then, the adult version of the show, as it turned out, was just a couple, F-bombs here and there and stuff. But then the 3 guys in the middle who I just... I'm not stereotyping or anything, but they're guys that look like about 20 years old or so, 21. They just didn't strike me that, for one, they'd be going to a magic show on a Saturday night in Atlantic City, and then 2, that they would really care that this dude was swearing. But so they keep whispering to each other the whole time, and then Kozak's like, why are you guys talking? You want to share that? What's so important that you can't watch my magic show, even though you're 3 of 7 people watching my magic show? And so it turned out...
You're saying this like in an annoyed, hostile way?
Yeah, so it was already getting awkward.
Okay.
And,
all right.
And then it turns out the guy's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean any disrespect, but like, I'm basically like a juvenile probation guy, and these guys are my ward, and I'm here to show them like a night out, like a safe and sane night out that doesn't involve... and furthermore, apparently it had some kind of religious like tint to it, because he didn't want them swearing. He's like, you're really not supposed to be hearing any of this kind of language and stuff. So that just was like, just brought the whole thing to a halt. And then Kozak starts apologizing. He's almost like on his knees, like, I'm so sorry. And he said that how I work with children, I work with troubled youth, I work with suicide, with depression, with drug addiction. He's like, give me your card, please, man. I'd love to come out and work with you guys to get some extra money. And so at this point, the magician's just begging. Well, he's the combination of apologizing to these guys and begging for extra work. And I fucked this story up because the preface is right when we sit down, they show this video, it's his entrance thing, and it's all these other, relatively big name magicians and comedians that perform in Vegas, giving this guy their thumbs up, saying, hey, he's a great guy, he's an excellent performer, but we think he's crazy when he came to sign this 5-year contract in Atlantic City to do magic at the Tropicana. And they're like, he'll be back here with his tail between his legs, and we know it. And it was super awkward, sitting in that audience with these guys saying that, because, of course, I think at first things went fairly well for him, and he just was hoping to prove them wrong. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much that story. It just got worse and worse, and I mean, I think I was the only one in the audience that was really clapping at any noticeable volume, so it spared me from having to go on stage, because he knew if he brought me on stage, it would suddenly be crickets.
So wait, this is
a depressing story.
Why were you going to see a magic show by yourself in Atlantic City?
Because I heard Kozak could turn a walnut shell to Atlantic crystal meth, and I wanted some. No, I don't know. Just magic is cool to me. I like it. It's an art form that I appreciate. Just like any other dancers or whatever. I mean, it takes a remarkable skill and I mean on different levels, right? It's not just the sleight of hand. It's the stage presence and comedy to an extent, just the distraction.
Yeah, I was at an event at my kid's high school where it was a cabaret show, and there was one kid who did a magic act. And first of all, you got to just give props to a high school kid for doing magic in front of his peers, because that's not a good way to get girls in general.
I was going to say the opposite, man. That's a good way to get pussy.
Maybe it is. But the thing that was great was he was really, really good. He had the skills. And I don't know, is there magic school, or do you look online for how to do these magic tricks? But it was really that art form thing that you just said. I totally agree with. It was actually really cool to watch this kid go through these motions and genuinely fool the rest of us there in the crowd. It was neat.
Yeah, what's not to like about that? Someone who just takes the fundamental aspects of the way you understand the world and defies them, and you can't figure it out. I mean, it's and you know that the solution's there some way, but it's the best puzzle that you probably never get the solutions for.
I mean, I'm not anti-magic or anything. It was just I was like, what? I was trying to figure out what the deal was. I thought maybe you were supposed to be there for some reason. I don't know.
That and it's just, hey, you've all been in this situation. You've been in a relationship for a long time. And you go somewhere and you're like, what are we going to do tonight? We're going to have dinner, we're going to do all these things. And it's hey, there's an hour between now and the next hour. Let's go see some magic. That kind of thing just happens, man.
Oh, wait, were you with your girl?
Yeah, it was me and Melissa.
Oh, okay. See, I thought you were by yourself. So I'm you're wandering around Atlantic City going to a magic show.
On my own. That would have been better. I could have said that too. Yeah.
What was the magician's name again?
Kozak. Kozak. You can check him out online. He deals
Are we human or are we magicians?
Are we magician?
Magic.
Singular.
Yeah, magician.